What's up, guys? Me here today. Today I'm going to talk about why I believe that Titanfall 3 is going to be releasing in spring of 2020 as opposed to in summer of 2019, like some people are saying. I'm going to try to look at this from a business aspect and pretty much just from a business aspect. And you'll see what I mean here in just a moment. So there have been rumors about Titanfall 3 for quite a while now, for the better part of a year. And a lot of people were thinking it was going to be 2019, including myself. I was hoping during EA Access earlier this year that Vince Zampella was going to discuss Titanfall 3, even just a little bit. But none of that happened. We did hear about the Star Wars game, the official title anyways. And that game is what I believe is going to be launching in 2019. It could be spring. I'm thinking it's going to be around a summer kind of launch. It's probably going to be before EA Access. Or it could be, well, some people say it's going to come out around September. I don't know if it'll be that late. I think it's hard to say. I think it's going to be probably either before EA Access or within 2 weeks after EA Access. That's just my thought. I believe Titanfall 3 is going to release in 2020. My thought specifically is probably the end of March 2020. And the reason for that is, well, it's a pretty simplistic reason. If you don't know, EA's fiscal year runs from April to March. So that's how their year is lined up. That's just how they do it. So generally at the end of every fiscal year for any company, no matter the size of the company, they want to make a big push at the end to help pad their numbers to make sure everybody gets bonuses from the top down. Pretty much anybody who's full-time management, whatever. I'm sure even some companies will wind up doing with part-timers, anybody and everybody gets a bonus. So for the end of their fiscal year because right now, my thought is they're probably on the year 2019, judging on how a lot of companies do it. There's been more companies that used to be running that used to run from February to January with their fiscal years. There have been some companies that I know of that have realigned their years to go from January to December, just like a normal calendar year, but I digress. I'm kind of getting off topic. I believe right now EA is in the year 2019, and they will be there until the end of March. And then when April rolls around, April 1st, that's when they start their 2020 fiscal year. That's what I believe they're doing. So for the end of their 2019 fiscal year, if I am correct in this statement, Anthem is going to be their last big AAA game. Now, Anthem is supposed to come out February 22nd of 2019. I don't see Titanfall releasing anywhere near that game. No matter the size of a company, EA lost a lot of money in the launch of Titanfall 2 due to their own kind of ignorance to the whole situation of putting it between Battlefield and Call of Duty. Very dumb idea. But I don't care. You know, people say EA doesn't care about, games or whatever. EA is not stupid. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. And any company, whether you only make a few 100,000, a few million, a billion, or even $1 trillion, even Apple, nobody wants to lose any money. No company. There are companies that can afford to lose more money than other companies, but no company. You go up to Tim Cook and ask him if he would like to lose $1 million. He's going to say no. Can they lose it? Yes, Apple could lose $1 million. He does not want it. He does not want to lose $1 million or any money. So EA does not want to make that repeat again. And I don't think Titanfall 3 is going to release around any other AAA shooter at all, specifically one from EA themselves. I don't see that happening. Circling back to Anthem for a second, I believe Anthem is being pushed. It hasn't been stated yet, but I have a feeling it's going to get pushed back. And it's either going to get... my thought is... It's hard to say. Okay, so the reason why it's likely going to get pushed is the rumblings that we've been hearing from people in the business is that Anthem is not running on any console properly other than the One X. Apparently, it's struggling with the base Xbox and the base PS4. which is to be expected. Surprisingly, it's having issues running with the PS4 Pro. The only console it's not having issues with is the Xbox One X. And unfortunately, we're in this weird thing now. I mean, we've always been in it with consoles, but it's more true today than it's ever been, that any game that comes out has to run properly on every console. And you can limit the assets. Like, I mean, look at Red Dead 2. The base Xbox version versus the One X version is like looking at a 360 game versus an Xbox game. It's so drastically different. You have to make a game run on all versions of a console. It might not run as well, but it still has to be able to run and not be broken. And apparently Anthem can't do that right now. Apparently no console other than the One X is handling Anthem properly in every way it needs to. So I don't think we're going to get info about Anthem being released, or I mean, about Anthem being pushed until probably early January. First few days in January is my guess. They're going to try to hold it back as long as they can to see if they can actually make Anthem work. If Anthem doesn't work properly on the consoles that they want it to, I think Anthem is going to get pushed back quite a ways. I think it's probably going to be an early fall release. I think it's going to get pushed way back to September. That's kind of my thought for Anthem, which would suck for EA in regards to ending their fiscal year with a big game. They won't have a big AAA game if Anthem gets pushed. And even let's pretend for 5 seconds that Titanfall 3 is, 85% there. I don't think that they're going to push Anthem. If they had to push Anthem, I don't think they're going to push Anthem and then put Titanfall right in that spot just because they need to make money somehow. I don't see that happening. So that's kind of the thing I wanted to point out, that, okay, if Anthem does come out in February, the end of March is the end of the fiscal year for EA. I don't see them putting out Titanfall against any other game, especially their own, in that 2-month time slot. I just don't really see it happening. The first major sales of most games are within the first 3 to 5 weeks. So I think you'd be looking 8 weeks at the shortest between a major AAA game, especially done by EA, and another AAA game from EA. So example, I don't see, Anthem coming out February 22nd and then Titanfall 3 coming out, the third or fourth, Friday of March. I don't see that happening. I think it's too close. And I don't think they want to make that mistake again, because EA lost a lot of money, even in stocks. Just stocks alone, they lost a lot of money. So I don't see that happening. I think it makes more sense for them to pad their next year, right? Like, they don't, as far as we all know now, there's no other major AAA game coming out in 2020 for EA in Q4 for them, which would be, the fourth quarter. I think logically it makes the most sense. If Anthem does come out in February, or even if it gets pushed back 2 or 3 weeks, I think Anthem coming out in February, early March, to help pad their numbers for this season that they're on, next year would be better for Titanfall, because that means April of 2019, they're going to be in their fiscal year 2020, and that year, I think, moving throughout that entire season, they don't have a Battlefield game coming out, because we've already seen that Battlefield game this year in 2018, so they're not going to have Battlefield coming out, and I don't think they're going to be dumb enough to launch Titanfall 3 around Call of Duty, especially if Modern Warfare 2 Remaster is happening next year, which I think it's going to be in November. So if Titanfall 3 does come out in 2019, I think it's going to be very, very late summer, just before fall breaks. That's the only time I see it coming out in 2019. But my thought is I'm still expecting it to come out in March, probably the third week of March, the third Friday in March of 2020. That's my guess. So I think we're still well over a year away from it coming out.